All right, guys, welcome back to my channel, round two of the show. For those of you who are missed the first part of the show, you can watch the last live update that I did about a TikTok influencer who is offered $400 to basically lie about January 6th on TikTok. Crazy stuff. So here we have some clips from a bipartisan focus group from, I believe it was done with the New York Times, and this clip was run on MSNBC. And I think it looks really interesting. I started watching some of this earlier, and I wanted to watch it with you guys and give you guys a raw reaction. I didn't actually get to the focus group part. So we're going to watch together for the first time. And then, Smokey, I will get to your question at the end. All right, let's go.
All right, let's turn now to political strategist and pollster Frank Luntz, who happens to be in London this morning. Frank, good to see you.
Not on Queen-related
No.
business, I don't think, at least for the purposes of this show. And Frank, you did a focus group on the economy, and I've written down this week, whenever we get Andrew Ross Sorkin on, I just put down a list of the cross currents in the U.S. economy. People feeling terrible, despite the fact we've had record job growth,
So to put that in perspective, when he says record job growth, he's talking from the pandemic till now. Joe Biden did not create new jobs. Joe Biden just allowed people to go back to work in the blue states. And that's what they're counting as record job growth. They took the jobs away. They said, you go back to work, and now they're calling it record job growth. We still don't have as many jobs as we did pre-pandemic, and that's a fact.
job openings, 11 million.
Record job openings. Not really. Those are positions that were open before COVID and that companies are not filling up right now for a number of reasons. But believe me, a lot of them are in hiring freezes right now because the economy is such a bad shape right now that a lot of these companies are kind of just like holding off on hiring any new people.
Million. According to the Wall Street Journal, a generational dominance of the U.S. dollar.
Now, again, we have pretty bad inflation here. So when he's talking about general dominance, he's not talking about within the U.S. because our dollar is worth shit right now. But I think what he's talking about is general dominance with the dollar internationally, because if you go to other countries, the dollar has gone up in strength. It's gone up against the euro. It's gone up against the Thai baht. Pretty much everywhere you could travel now, the dollar has become stronger. So he's probably referring to that. But basically what that means is, like, we have inflation here. Those other countries also have inflation there. So inflation is a global problem right now. The problem is, though, you have to also acknowledge what's the global currency. It's the U.S. dollar. And we're in absolute more control of it. So it makes sense that while we're having inflation, other countries are having more inflation, and our dollar is stronger compared to theirs.
Child poverty at record lows, gas prices going down, child poverty dominance of the U.S. dollar, child poverty at record lows.
Child poverty at record lows? I don't even know. I haven't even heard about that, but that doesn't seem to make much sense.
Gas prices going down.
Gas prices going down after we ran them up to $5. So we already had to pay those gas prices for almost 2 years. You don't get a pat on the back until they're back down to $2. And even then, you still had our gas prices sky high for 2 years.
Supply chain problems improving, but
supply chain problems improving. Well, when you destroy the supply chains, you can only go up. So look how they spin. This is just crazy how they spin this shit. It's unbelievable.
Inflation for working class and middle class Americans. Inflation seems to make all of that irrelevant to so many Americans. What did you find in your focus group?
Well, the issue, and by the way, last night I did go onto the queue and spent about an hour interviewing people. And Joe and Mika, I've been very depressed. I know people are going to laugh at that, but if you listen to what I listen to, you hear what I hear from the American people, it's very upsetting. The level of division, the level of anger and frustration we have in this country continues to go higher to a point where I never thought it could reach this point. And yet, in standing in that line and talking to those people, some of them who had flown from New York, Miami, Mexico City, across Europe, we had several people from Africa that I interviewed, the level of reconciliation, of coming together of being eager to talk to each other and share their experiences. None of them have ever met a member of the royal family. None of them ever will. But the belief that that institution keeps the country together, that it's been one of success, even though it's had trials and tribulations over in recent years, the idea that the entire population can share in this grief and reconnect with each other.
To be fair, the entire population is not sharing in the grief. Personally, I mean, I do feel bad that she passed away, but I do know a lot of people have opinions about this, and the people that have opinions about the Queen and the royal family, they're not going to be going to her funeral or these kind of events. So he's only going to be meeting people that support her, the royal family, and are grieving or trying to pay their respects. But there are a lot of people, and you just could look on the internet, that some people have said some really evil things. Some people are, they're more calm and level-headed while expressing themselves about the Queen and the royal family and Prince Andrew and all the things. But again, he's having a very biased crowd that he's talking to in these videos.
I wish that we had some unifying force in America. I wish we had someone who brought people together. And let us hope.
We don't we don't have anybody. I don't know anybody that could bring us together at this point, because once there's an R or D next to their name, it's going to alienate half the country. That's just the reality.
That it doesn't have to be the loss of a political or social or any kind of figure, that we could do so in a positive way. Joe, to answer your question specifically, the reason why inflation matters so much is that it affects every individual in every community, in every state of the country. Doesn't matter whether you're working class or upper middle class, you pay more for prices, you pay more for gas. And the key issue right now, the one that's coming.
8.3 in 1 month. That is unheard of, guys. To put that in perspective, let's say you spent $100 in July. You have to now spend $108 in August to get the same thing. That's crazy.
Over the next 3 or 4 months, electricity. The idea that some people may not actually be able to afford their electric bills in December and January when they're going to need it. The New York Times did an excellent job of bringing out this fear of what's happening, this frustration. You can read about it in Sunday's newspaper. Joe, I won't call it a crisis, but I will say this. It feeds into the negativity and it feeds into the division, and we don't seem to have any answers for it.
Yeah.
All right. So, Frank, you conducted the focus group earlier this week in conjunction with the New York Times. It was a nationwide sample of voters, half of whom voted for Donald Trump, the other half for Joe Biden. And you asked if they think Washington understands the economic situation. Let's take a look at some of their responses.
What does Washington not understand about you economically that you wish to tell them?
Everybody in Congress, almost everybody in Congress is absurdly wealthy, like independently wealthy, more money than they'd be making from their congressional salaries, even if they came from poverty. And I don't think they understand how expensive it is to live right now. I don't think they understand how expensive rent is, how the number of houses selling for less than $300,000 has dwindled to almost nothing in the last 5 years. Just the fact that nobody can access not even building wealth, but just getting stability.
Like Chris said, I feel that they are far removed from their constituents. They do not care. And if they really looked at what was going on with homelessness, with affordable housing, with all of that, there would be more done, and then money would be redirected and spending would be a lot smarter.
I like the way some people answered. I don't think they're realistic or practical. They don't know. Like I said, the day-to-day decisions we have to make in order to survive.
And Frank, what is so fascinating is gas prices are going down, other costs are going down, but the one area that you kept hearing about, rent, housing, affordable housing. Remember after World War II, you look at those documentaries, you see Levittown, in those documentaries of pictures of the home, because guess what? That's at the heart of the American dream, that you come home from war or you graduate from college, you find somebody special, you have a job, you buy a home,
So even that dream is fading away. Finding somebody special in their 20s. There's a lot of research about this, but young men in their 20s have not had sex this little in a long time. Men in their 20s, I think it's like 1/3 of men below 30 are like sexless or like virgins or something. It's some crazy stat, and a lot of it has to do with I can't blame them fully, but I can also blame them, with these dating apps and just this whole sugar baby lifestyle and the normalization of it, and escorting and OnlyFans and TikTok and Instagram. It's like, women are incentivized to go for the men that has the highest money, the high income man, the high value man, and they get the pick of their litter. So you have 5% of men collecting all the women, and a lot of these women don't care. Because while a lot of times a lot of women will get caught up, and by the way, we're talking about like the most beautiful women in society, the women that we all want, desire to have, like the dream girls for all of us. A lot of these women, they will catch feelings at some point, but ultimately, like, they don't care if they're going to Nobu, they're getting flights to Dubai, they're getting the new purses. Well, I don't even know what those purses are called, expensive purses. They're getting jewelry, they're getting cash. They don't really give a shit. They milk that in their 20s. And the losers are all these young 20-year-old guys that most 20-year-old guys don't make a lot of money until they're in their 30s. So the whole idea, especially in New York City and like LA and your big cities, are like, you're not going to graduate college, find a girl, and then move in together, settle down, and have kids by 25. That day is long gone. It might happen in the Midwest, but even the Midwest and the middle of America is still being affected by dating apps. Everyone's on the internet. And porn too. Everyone's got access to porn damages relationships. And there's already all these other obstacles for happy marriages, like, alcohol and drugs and other women and financial problems. So the whole entire culture of dating in America is a fucking mess. And that's honestly why I am just really not engaging in it until I get to the Philippines. I will date again in the Philippines or Thailand early next year, but until then, I don't see the point. I really don't see the point. I actually, and I hope she's not watching. There's only 11 viewers. Obviously, she's not watching, but I met this really, really beautiful. Oh, that's the mom. Wow. Damn. I met this really beautiful, beautiful Filipino girl in New York about, I want to say 2 months ago. And I thought she was absolutely gorgeous, stunning girl. I think she's like 20 years old, so I think she's in college. She might have been 19, actually. I don't know. Maybe if she's a sophomore or junior, maybe even a freshman. I have no idea. I didn't get to know her that way. I just see on her Instagram it says that she's in college in New York. Now, while 20 is very young for me, and I will acknowledge that, it's not very young if you're looking to kind of start a family. It is young in terms of like, is a 20-year-old girl in New York City ready to start a family? Absolutely not. But if you're looking for somebody, a woman who is very fertile, and you want to minimize your fertility risks, then it makes sense to go with a 20-year-old. That's the reality. And given that I have a whole host of health issues, as you guys are well aware of, it would be in my best interest to impregnate someone who is in their young 20s. And let me tell you why. I look really good lately. I feel good. I'm energetic. I'm going to the gym a lot. I feel healthy besides dialysis. But I'm part of a lot of Facebook groups for kidney failure. And the one thing that I see is that people take a turn for the worst like this. They're in dialysis. They're doing well. Then boom, something goes wrong in their body. And they either pass away or they're in a very critical type of state. Now, I've already waited a very long time to have kids. Again, we all know the abortion story. I would have loved if she had that kid. But here we are. I'm 39. Probably won't get to the Philippines till January, February of next year, if I could even get in with the vaccine mandates. Otherwise, I'm going to go to Vietnam, where I can get in. But let's say I get in and I take 3 to 6 months in Philippines, exploring the country, dating many women to just try to like pinpoint the right one. Because I want to immerse myself in the culture. I want to get to know the different types of women from Boracay, from Palawan, from Cebu, from Manila. And let's say I find the right girl around my birthday next year, around July. So I meet her, we start to make love, we get her pregnant, and by February of 2024, I now have a baby. I'm now 40 years old with an infant. Now, let's say, God forbid, I only have 10 years left after that. Let's just say my fate is to die at 50 years old. Let's just say for a second here, guys. So I die at 50 years old, right? I had my time on this earth. My human experience comes to an end, and I'm gone. And now my child is 9 years old without a father, but the child has a 29-year-old mother now, 30-year-old mother. Think about that. I can now know as I leave this earth that I've left my unborn child with a young enough woman that is going to be there. Odds are for 60, 70 years, 50, 60 years to see the kid through the rest of his life. Because me with my kidney failure, even when I get a transplant, transplants are only good for, if it's from a cadaver, 15, 20 years. If it's from a live donor, 20 to 30 years. So at that point, you usually need another transplant after that. And who knows how technology is going to evolve at that point. But I need to think about this kind of stuff. So given I already have such, well, Hadi, it's true though. Given that I already have such a dire disease, again, I'm handling it really well, guys. I'm very optimistic. I'm very positive. But given how dire this disease can possibly be, I don't want to date someone who's 30, 35. I don't want to go through any pregnancy risks. I don't want to have any pregnancy issues. You know, I already experienced, I told you guys on a different stream, I had erectile dysfunction earlier this year that was tied to my kidney failure because the toxins in my blood were getting in the way of me being able to do things down there. It was very, very strange for me because I've been hyperactive in, my past life, and when I was living in Thailand and living in New York City and living in LA. And for me to experience erectile dysfunction at 39 was, without knowing that it was from kidney failure, was very shocking. Now my performance is back. I'm whole again down there, but like that happens, and that can happen to a woman in her 30s as well. Obviously I could date a woman. Would spend 6 months together. We could start going for tests. I don't really want to worry about that. I want to just be able to find a girl who's, close to 20 years old as possible. And, I've told you guys before, I don't necessarily need an intellectual equal. I know a lot of times in the US, a lot of men, they claim that they want an intellectual equal and all that stuff. I don't see my partner as my everything in this world. I think that's one of the issues in our society today is we look at our partners as like, she has to be everything for me. My therapist, my best friend, my lover, my massage therapist, my consultants. It's like you put too much stuff in America on the women. There needs to be like a little independence, a little separation, a little distance. You go to certain people for certain things, in my opinion. So I'm not looking for that. So that's why I don't need that. I just want someone who's got a good heart, the willingness to be loyal, faithful, and wants to be a good mom. That's what I want. Those are the traits I want. That's what I need. And if she has hobbies and she has ambitions, that's fine too. But I want the woman, the mother of my children, to put the kids before anything else. Kids first, husband next, career last. In America, it's usually the reverse. It's career first, kids second, husband last. That's just the way it's set up for most people in America. And I personally don't want to go that direction. So anyway, I just went on a long tangent from this video. Let's get back into it.
And you live the American dream. My parents did it. I'm sure your parents did it. We all.
American dream, I will say, is not what it used to be when the Democrats are in power.
All grew up where that was able to be done. Now the cost of rent is outrageous.
Also, the cost of opening a business is insane. The cost of opening a business, guys, is unbelievable. To open a business in New York is almost impossible. Almost all the small businesses have been shut down during COVID. And now it's just a bunch of corporate chain stores. And that's exactly what they wanted for the Great Reset.
And as far as a starter home, forget about it. It just costs too much, doesn't it?
Well, there's a philosophy behind this. And it's a promise that the country's made to its people. You work hard, you play by the rules, you pay your taxes, you raise your family, you attend your religious institutions, and things are supposed to work out for you. But for tens of millions of Americans, they simply can't afford the cost of day-to-day life. And this is something that both political parties do not seem to address. We seem to focus on employment numbers, which are outstanding, but forgetting about the fact that the day-to-day concerns, the day-to-day priorities of so many Americans cannot be met.
Let me ask you, like, has anybody gotten an 8% raise in August? No. You get one raise per year, usually. And it's usually for like 3 to 5%. So when you have inflation going up 8% in the month of August, 1 month, and your annual raise is 3 to 5%, you're already behind the 8 ball. These people are such clowns.
Under the current economic conditions, and that you heard that frustration with Congress. The feeling is that Congress doesn't get it. They argue, they fight, they bicker, and we're not better off as a result.
So here are some of their responses when you asked for one word that describes present day America.
One word, I'm going to call in each of you to describe conditions in America right now.
Poor.
Disparity.
Struggling.
Would say confusing.
Uncertain.
Depressing.
Miserable.
Divided.
Shaky.
Unstable.
Polarized.
Dire.
Dismal.
Division. And Frank,
Oh my.
let
You guys hear those words? Oh my God. That's so fucking depressing. And these are Trump and Biden voters, by the way, mind you. People are getting angry. I mean, you guys saw the videos I posted today from the rally. Those two people were so angry. That large woman and then the man with the big belly. They're so angry. I mean, I just try to have fun, you know. I try to just be lighthearted about it, have fun. I don't think that they get that I'm joking when I call them the P word, but, you know, they just come off so angry and bitter.
me remind our viewers that half of those people voted for Donald Trump. Half of those people voted for Joe Biden. And yet it seems like all of them right now do not like the direction this country's going.
Joe?
I'm telling you guys, the polls that say Joe Biden's approval rating is 40 whatever percent, that's all bullshit. We know that. We know that. You can't go out in the street and find 40% approval for Joe Biden. You can't do it. You cannot do it. You cannot do it. What you'll find is if I go out of New York City, which was 87% Biden voters, and we ask them, are you happy with the job Joe Biden's doing? I don't know if you're going to get 40%. What you're going to get a lot of responses is, well, it's better than the other guy, when really it's not better than the guy. When you look at all the metrics, it's not better than Trump. The only year he lost was the pandemic, which any president would have lost that year. But 2016 to 2019, 2017, 2019, we were on fire. Inflation was less than 2%. Wage growth outpaced inflation. We took people off of food stamps, 2.5 million people, I think, maybe even more than that. Everybody was making more money. The stock market, crypto, everything was just going up, 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 up. It was wonderful. It was amazing. Rent was affordable, you know, so we were just in such a great spot. But that's the answer you're going to get, is better than the other guy, or just happy it's not Trump. But if you could, and the thing is, if you can get him in a vacuum, you might actually get the truth. I should probably put on my Biden outfit again, my Build Back Better hat and my Hillary t-shirt, and go out as a fake Biden voter in New York and try to get some responses. I think I should probably try to do that. That would be interesting to do that again, guys, to go undercover again as a Joe Biden voter. Maybe we'll do that in New York City.
I'm going to take this opportunity. At some point, we break. We talk about it. We joke about it. The late night comedians have routines on it. We share our points of view. We pontificate. But at some point, the country comes apart. And this is my warning to everyone viewing this right now. We are reaching the breaking point. We're reaching it politically in our inability to talk and listen to each other. We're reaching it economically in our inability to provide for ourselves and our families.
No, we're not reaching it. We're already there. We're well into it, because when you talk to a Biden voter or they talk to a Trump voter, we are so opposite ends. I mean, think about this. We love Trump. They hate Trump. No matter what we say about the classified documents, they won't believe it. You know, the Martha's Vineyard thing, you ask a Biden voter, you ask a Biden voter Martha's Vineyard, they're going to tell you what DeSantis did was inhumane, it was immoral, he basically human trafficked people, he lied to them. Martha's Vineyard stepped up, the community pitched in, it was a wonderful thing. We showed that, we're very accepting. In the reality, those migrants volunteered to go to Martha's Vineyard. They volunteered, they had to sign a waiver. They were handed maps and documents about Martha's Vineyard. They were given like a tour map of like where to go, what to do when they got there. And what happened when they got to Martha's Vineyard, of course, the people hustled a little bit. They put them in like a few of their houses. They gave them some food and clothes. But they also called the military and got buses involved and kicked them out within 44 hours and said, see ya, peace. And then they staged a whole crying goodbye teary ceremony. That's what really happened. And we're on complete opposite sides, even just on that one little thing, knowing what really happened, with the Martha's Vineyard thing. So we're already what he's describing. We're already there. We're already there. Half the country thinks Trump is going to be president again. Half the country thinks he's going to be in jail.
Families, we're reaching it socially with so many of these divisions. Nika, Joe, this is serious. This is significant. And someday I don't want us to look back on this moment and say, well, we heard it. We knew from Americans how they felt, but instead of solving the problems, we made them worse. God help us if that's how we look at this moment.
I don't even know what would unite the country at this point. Like my head is going through like these like random ideas right now. And I was like thinking, what if Joe Biden put Trump on his cabinet or something, or like gave him a role? First of all, I don't think Trump would take it. But imagine if Trump did, like, was like, I'll take a role on Biden's administration. And then Biden and Trump came out together hand in hand and were like, yo, guys, we've decided to bury the hatchet and we're united now and we want to bring Americans together. Would that even work? First of all, this would never happen. Trump and Biden would never do that. But would it even work at this point? Like, what would it take? I mean, look, 9/11 just happened. We all know how united we were after 9/11 in 2001. The whole country just came together. It was that was the beautiful part. That was the silver lining. But is that what it needs to take for a fractured country like this to fall apart? I don't think so. Because what's going to happen is if that happens, even that's going to be politicized. Just like everything. Every time there's a school shooting, right? The first thing that people do is, who did he support? Was he a Trump voter or was he a Biden voter? That's the first thing everyone does. So automatically, people start scrambling, looking for evidence to see if it's a Biden voter or Trump voter. And once they find something they believe, then they're like, that's it. There goes the chance of any unity. We had one shooter, I think it was the Buffalo shooter, who had a manifesto. And he wrote in his manifesto, is he a Democrat? He said, no. Is he a Republican? He said, no. But in some days, he is more Republican than he is Democrat. On other days, he's more Republican. I think he called himself a socialist anarchist or something like that. So he literally described what he was. And yet people still said he was a Trump supporter. And I was like, did you not read his manifesto? Which, by the way, a lot of it was copy-pasted. So we don't know how much of it was actually his free thought versus, what he was just copy-pasting. But did you even read the manifesto? Because you wouldn't know the answer. And he was a Trump supporter. And he wasn't a Biden voter. He wasn't either. So it's like, stop making shit up. But that's exactly what we do in this country now. So I don't even know if something like a 9/11 would bring us together anymore, because it would just get instantly politicized. And that's pretty sad. So anyway, guys, that's is that the end of the focus group? Yeah, that's the whole focus group video. I thought it was interesting and depressing at the same time to watch that. Let me see if you guys have any questions. Do I think Lee Zeldin will win New York? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. But let me see. Hold on. I mean, look, people who are aware know that the crime's out of control because of Democratic policies. And apparently Lee Zeldin is within single-digit margin of flipping New York for GOP. Apparently. GOP Lee Zeldin is within a single-digit margin of winning the New York gubernatorial election. According to a new poll, he would be viewed as a major upset against Kathy Hochul. Less than 5 points. Well, with this said, guys, Lee Zeldin might actually have a chance. I might have to start going campaigning for Lee Zeldin. I might have to start getting out there for Lee Zeldin. If he's within 5 percentage points, that's incredible. Trafalgar has a conservative lean compared to others. Across all polls, Hochul leads Zeldin by 16 points. So let's see. These are the latest polls. We want New York. Where's New York? Governors. Governor. New York. Damn. Yeah, when you look at it this way, Hochul's 51.3 to Lee Zeldin 38.8. I mean, he's made a big lift recently. He's come up a lot. I'm wondering what made him come up. When was the Biden speech? End of August? This must have been the Biden speech right here. Oh, that's July. Maybe that was the Biden speech. Let me see. When was Biden's speech? September 1st. Yeah, I was right. So Lee Zeldin had a 33.5. 33.5. And then Joe Biden gave his MAGA is the worst thing speech, and he jumped up to 35.5. So he gained 2% of the vote because of Joe Biden's speech. So that's just pretty interesting, guys. And I see that he's saying don't listen to it, but here's the actual polls. Trafalgar is the outlier, 48 to 43, 5%. Coefficient is 6%, and the rest are in the double digits. I don't know, guys. It's possible. It's possible. Let's go back up and look at how popular is Joe Biden. Let's see. He's up to 42% approval and 53% disapproval. Damn, look at that. What a disgrace. He was so high. He had over half the American support. And then it literally just flipped. What a disgrace. What a disgrace. Let's look at Florida. DeSantis, hell yeah, DeSantis. DeSantis is gonna destroy Florida. DeSantis is gonna go nuts in Florida. I don't know though, guys, because New York, a lot of the base patriots are moving out of the state. That's the problem. That's the problem, guys. A lot of people are going out to Florida. But I don't know. Lee Zeldin has a puncher's chance. The truth about Lee Zeldin. Lee Zeldin is sort of the mainstream, so devoted to the extreme fringes of his party that it's hard to believe he's a New Yorker. Before the dust even settled at the Capitol on January 6th, Lee Zeldin voted with the insurrectionists and Donald Trump throughout the election. Okay, I can't read that. He applauded the Supreme Court's decision to overthrow Roe v. Wade and has voted pleaded for abortion bans. Good. Without exceptions for the health of the mother. Again, just to go over that, an abortion means you kill the baby. When a mother's health is at risk and the baby is viable, why do you have to kill the baby? Do a C-section or remove the baby and then keep the baby alive and then keep the mother alive. Keep both lives alive. That's what should happen. The only time when you'd have to kill the baby is an ectopic pregnancy, but the baby's already not viable in an ectopic pregnancy. And that's why it's not considered an abortion, because it's not a viable pregnancy to begin with. But a lot of times people on the left will say, What about an ectopic pregnancy? It's like even Planned Parenthood has said that's not actually an abortion. That's a medical procedure that has to happen. So that's not an abortion because the baby's not viable. And he would put more guns on our streets and allow them in dangerous hands. Dangerous hands already have the guns. It'll put the guns into not dangerous hands. That's the thing. Right now, the guns are only in the dangerous hands, in the non-law-abiding citizens' hands. Lee isn't any Republican. He's dangerous and extremely wrong for New York. Read more about his record below. Lee Zeldin, Trump extremist, MAGA Republican. Oh my God. Zeldin, make America great again. Hell yeah, Zeldin. Anti-abortion extremist. Hell yeah. Stop abortion. Hell yeah. Lee Zeldin, extreme on guns. Extreme is following our Constitution. No right shall be infringed. That's extreme. That's extreme. I think extreme is having gun-free zone signs all over Times Square, and then people still get shot there because the bad guys bring the guns in. So that I think is extreme. And this is, of course, paid for by the friends of Kathy Hochul. Thank you, friends of Kathy Hochul. Ohio's a red state. Sherrod Brown is going to lose big in 2024. I don't know anything about Ohio, to be honest with you guys. I'll look it up. I'll look up Ohio. Who is Sherrod Brown running for governor? Governor of Ohio. DeWine and Whaley. No, it must be a Senate. Ryan versus Vance. Who the hell is Sherrod Brown? Oh, in 2024, you're saying. Okay. Wow, in Ohio, the Democrats winning by 2 points. Look at that. That's wild. Let's go to Alabama. Yeah, of course. Alabama's based. Let's go to Arizona. Oh, is this Senate? I want governor. Nevada, Sisolak. Sisolak freaking shut down Las Vegas during COVID. Get him out of there. Let's get Lombardo. Let's look up Arizona. Hobbs is beating Kerry Lake. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, Emerson College has them even. Look at this, guys. Lake is winning in certain polls. That's cool. What a discrepancy. You have Lake winning, and then you have Hobbs winning by 14 points. That's crazy. Yeah, I want Kerry Lake to win. Kerry Lake is amazing, and she's gorgeous. She is a chica, guapa. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for tonight. I'm going to go to sleep. That was an hour of shows for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we'll see you guys tomorrow, maybe. God bless Trump.